Hello and welcome to another episode of Chaos of London. This is Mage Edition. Tonight we find ourselves with Kai, our very, uh, very well-trained craftsman of various crafts, um, calling up a meeting with a Thanatos contact that he has, a Dr. Johann Strauss. Um, For the purposes of the scene, assume that whenever I'm speaking as Dr. Strauss, I have a thick German accent. That's just one of the accents I cannot do. Just roll with it. We'll be meeting in Kai's tea shop, workshop, etc. The various shops that it is. Um, so you'll get a polite knocking at your door.
And he answers the door rather promptly, motions him in, and then turns the sign on the door to closed.
A somewhat portly, friendly-looking German man, Dr. Strauss, will walk in, give you a nod, and say, "Oh, Kai, how are you doing this evening?"
Well, I find myself in a bit of a state. We had an occurrence, and I don't have all the facility, so to speak, to process what it is I experienced here. So here we are.
Very well. What exactly happened?
Well, we found ourselves with I had a number of customers. All of them seemed to be from our side of things, or at least the non-typical side of things. We heard a loud crack outside and discovered a man shot through the skull. On bringing him in and apprehending the shooter, my door, as you can see from a number of small dings there, was assaulted by a bicycle. By that, I don't mean someone threw a bike or beat the door with a bike. I mean the bicycle itself, with no assistance from outside, battered my door.
He makes a face. Say, did the shooter use a sniper rifle?
Indeed.
Two shots through the bullet, or through the same entry and exit wound?
Yep.
Okay.
I suspect he had an accomplice here, perhaps to cover up if things went south, because shortly after, an individual healed the wounds. When it was discovered the victim wasn't quite dead, that individual also took the weapon and disappeared. I can't confirm he was involved, but it seems damn suspicious to take a attempted murder weapon, run off with it.
If it is the man I'm thinking of, he typically did not have partners. But he's also been rogue for quite a while. It's not outside the realm of possibility that he's gained one. Where's the man now?
The man, the shooter,
Yes.
he goes, says, "I'll be right back." He goes downstairs, comes back fairly briefly with a burlap sack, which he dumps out, containing a human skeleton. It's also been wrapped in a number of herbs and stuff, nettles and that sort of thing. Basically, all the herbs used for like banishment of evil spirits and stuff, he used like the opposite.
Trying to keep it there.
Right.
He'll nod and say, Well, probably for the best that he has ceased. Do you know what happened to the bicycle?
He points to a lawn chair frame in the corner.
He'll pull a pair of glasses off of his coat. He kind of had them along the collar, and he'll put them on and start squinting at the once bicycle, now lawn chair frame. Oh dear. Oh dear. So, to sum things up, the man you encountered was a former youth Thanatos, no longer with us, obviously, by the name of Spiro Antonis, one of our better Knights of Rhadamanthus. He went a little off his rocker when his wife died. Um, Started claiming that his wife's spirit had possessed his bicycle and that they were partners, etc. There is no spirit in that frame anymore, which could be a problem depending on what spirit was claiming to be his wife.
Could such a vessel be used to track the link? This is part of why I called you. I do not understand these means of spirits. And perhaps seems I need to. This city seems to have a number of them present. If it's something I need to contend with, then perhaps I need a better frame of reference for understanding.
It would not be a bad idea, especially as I come back to enact vengeance on those who destroyed its partner.
Well, I find myself in a position whereby I have technically my actions directly result in the execution of one of your members, leaving you with a void that needs to be filled. I've begun some training under you, and I find myself in need of skills that you are capable of teaching. And while some of our philosophy differs, it seems to me that perhaps there's more in common than I cared to admit, and perhaps a prudence for there to be some sort of relationship between us.
An apprenticeship of sorts is what you're proposing.
Well, my skills, as I have developed them thus far, are more geared towards the shaping of this world and the fate of things in this world. And it seems to me that regardless of how one envisions fate, whether it be a wheel, a weave, threads, strings, whatever you want to use, those fundamental concepts extend beyond this world into the next. Clearly, and he kind of gestures to the bicycle. So, we now have a situation. I am in need of learning. I know some of your practice and belief system already. That seems to make me a good candidate.
It'll begin tomorrow. I'll prepare some guiding materials, and we'll go from there.
It seems to me as well that the matter of spirits is one that I will have to contend with one way or another. It seems best I educate myself to do so.
It's definitely better to do that sooner rather than later.
Well, it seems to me there's lots of messes in this city, and reviewing some of the old newspapers from prior to my arrival, there were strange occurrences already. Now this stuff, I've place where I forged my hammer here happens to be a tomb, and while I found it through wandering, it leads me to wonder if perhaps fate and the spirits weren't intertwined there as much as my ego might lead me to believe otherwise. And if I'm to shape fate here and shape this world and it's the fate of the things in it, to do so completely may require me to also do that with things as they pass into the next as well.
He'll nod. It looks like he's looking a little bit above your shoulder, and I'll ask him, are you aware of the being following you around?
Yeah, just kind of looks and says, well, as I mentioned, it's not an area I have experience with. Hence, here we are. So the short answer, I guess, then would be no.
Okay, yeah. Fair answer is that. I don't believe it means you harm, so I'll allow you to discover it for yourself after training. But should anything strange occur, do let me know.
What are we calling strange? Because there's a man double tapped by a former Thanatos outside my door recently.
That definitely qualifies.
It at least seems a very unlikely coincidence.
I'll say strange freak accidents resulting in death would qualify.
Well, I imagine it would have been death if not for the man here who was appeared to be the cover-up agent.
Yes, if you do see that man again, try and see what he's up to.
Well, perhaps someone else knows more. I did catch the name of Eli while he was in.
If he isn't with the late Mr. Antinous, I very much hope he doesn't try to use the gun.
Well, I've heard such things can be keyed to a maker or wielder.
Spiro was a little paranoid. If anyone but him or anyone he gives permission to attempts to use that gun, we will lose an entire neighborhood.
I don't believe I have a method to contact, but if I run into him, I will caution him against it. I had actually been hoping to maintain possession of the weapon. I felt it might be possible to manipulate it and or reshape it.
It's possible. Obviously, that would require us getting our hands on it again.
Well, it would also perhaps make it easier to unwork any security measures. Especially given our late friend, well, what remains of him, is here with me. And again, circling back to our conversation, I don't know how much remains of him. Because I'm not trained in the other world business.
I don't see any wraith about him, but they just wanted the skeleton. Whether that means he's moved on, or has gone back, or has just gone away. Could be any of those things.
I do not know all the details, but I know in my culture they're called the Restless Dead for a reason. But if it is, in fact, still him present, these would be useful in recalling him, no?
Very much so.
Well, I shall hold on to them, at least for the time being.
Keep them guarded as you can. You never know who might come trying to claim them.
Yes, I heard there's been other mages in the area who have died, and I get concerned with what one of us can do in this life if that knowledge were taken to another world. Seems to me that the angry, restless spirit skilled in those knowledges, arcanas, would be very dangerous and powerful.
Knowledge is very powerful.
Another reason I wish to further that understanding. These rumors I hear of strange things, and sure, everybody says they're just tabloids, don't trust them, but in my experience, the tabloids often pierce the veil of the arcane better than the mainstream. Strange trees and shape-shifting monsters.
There have been a lot of strange occurrences in London lately. I don't claim to know all of them, of course, but
It extends outside of London. Anyone who thinks the Loch Ness Monster is a myth is fooled. The myth is simply a existence that we haven't documented or proven or accepted under the mainstream mentality. Much easier to pass off the strange and the unusual as rumor and hearsay and the short tales of con artists or madmen than it is to adjust your thinking to accept it.
is there anything else that was strange that you noticed?
He gestures. He says, "Well, the gentleman there was exsanguinated prior to being fed into my forge fire by someone who seemed to have very little objection to doing so.
Mm.
Minimal mess in the back room. Man's bike tires both went flat, reinflated. I didn't see any nails in the street. One thing I'll give this city, their public works on cleanup is impeccable." Seemed to handle it pretty well when I tackled them, all things considered. Got some strange abilities from my background. Where they come from, I don't know, but typically when I hit a man, he doesn't get up easily. This one did.
He was very experienced, we'll say. Seemingly not in his right mind, though, otherwise I'm sure he put up much more of a fight.
I believe he was threatened initially, and I'm sure the destruction of the bicycle did not help. Perhaps took some of the, how one might say, fighting spirit out of him.
Possibly.
Well, as I say, this spirit magic business, it's something I have to learn and develop and integrate clearly. These spirits of land and the dead and the whole smash. It's a significant gap in my understanding. And if I'm residing regularly at this, are you familiar with Wayland's Smithy? The old crypt.
Somewhat.
Well, that has been my recent abode, and also where I forged this hammer. And it seems to me that, once again, crypt, likely dead things, probably should be prepared to handle that. Hammer.
Next. Definitely something to keep in mind.
Oh, is there anything you require from me initially here?
He'll look around the shop for a second and grab about 5 different tea bags in exchange for tutelage.
Yeah. Does this guy seem like he knew what he was reaching for?
Yes.
Okay. He will go over and review them and say, I think that wouldn't be fair, but and perhaps it's the spirit you're talking to about what have you. And he selects one of them, pulls it back, and he says, I don't think Nightshade would make a very good tea.
He'll just give a slight smile.
He bundles them, but he makes a point to put that one separate. And he says, and if you like that one, for whatever it is you need it for, I have other such things as well that work quite well.
Wonderful. Well, I shall see you tomorrow then. Bright and early.
He says, well, I look forward to it. You know. We'll see you then.
He'll
I offer you a small mead for your trip.
That sounds lovely. Thank you very much.
You will set him up with some mead, and before he sees him out and reopens the shop for the night.
We can end it there. Thank you for playing. Thank you, future watchers, for watching this another episode of Chaos London.